Boys and girls, Alex here. In a previous video, well, I hope I have published the video, I had issues, or I addressed the issue of why I was getting in this concave effect in my engraving. It really boiled down to the fact of how I sanded it and the pressure I used. However, the amount of sanding that I applied was really due to getting rid of the staining around the perimeter by the actual wood filler, which was black ebony. My intention in this video is hopefully to minimize that staining, or as I call it, leaching. To do that, what I've tried to do, or what I have done, is masked off a lot of the area. Masked off, not a lot of the area, I've masked it off. On the blue one I've just used normal painter's tape. On the white one, hang on, I'll see if I can get this in. I use this, let's have a look at what you see. It's a dedicated laser masking tape. It's quite expensive, however, I can't remember how much. I don't think I got much of a change out of about $100. However, when you consider this masking tape costs, what, $10, $12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and if you have a look at the different sizes, it could be more economical. However, we're not here to argue shekels, we're here to argue effect. What I'm going to do is now fill this, and I've got to go and get my, here we are, I've got it. Fill this, and if you saw my other video, I will try and use my pat down method, and see, my biggest concern with this is going to be of how do I sand it, the next layer, how do I actually sand it with the paper on it without getting through, so that the second layer still has enough paper, and then how do I get the paper off? Yeah, that's actually going to be the interesting part. Now, the problem I had, actually I should have showed you before I started filling it, the problem I had previously, and that one of the reasons why I don't like, oh, that was hard. Gee, I think I'm lifting the paper up. Yeah, the problem I had, sorry, I'm better do this before I the problem I had with the previous uses of masking tape is where you have a look, damn it, hang on, I'll dry this off and then come back. Okay, I'm back. In the past, if you could imagine this, when it was covered with tape and engraved, all the light areas had that masking tape on it. Now for big parts, it's not so hard to get it off, but with the inner bit, you've got to then somehow scrape it off. Now, I've never liked the concept of sanding off glued on templates and things like that. I've shied away from it. But that could be because sometimes you've just got to sand more aggressively than you like to get that paper off. So anyway, we'll see how this holds up, because I don't particularly want to sand through the masking tape, because I've got to put another layer on. But I still need to flatten it out so that I've got a smooth surface to work on. I don't want ridges, because if I've got ridges, when you drag your spatula across, you follow the ridges, and if there happens to be a concave part in there, you mightn't actually get enough filler in there, or the other way around. So anyway, that's my theory. It's all theory at the moment, and we'll see what happens. The wood filler has dried. Time to sand. I don't know which way to swing, so whether to try with 180 or 240 first, or straight on with the Ross. Look, I'm going to try the hand sanding. All I want to do is flatten this out enough so I can give it another coat of the wood filler, but still leave the paper intact. So let's see. As you can see, it's already lifting there. Although fortunately I can just about see look, I might give it a quick buzz with this. Yeah, I can see a lot of areas I've missed, but I'm also starting to sand away on this paper, so I've got to watch where I fill. I've also blown out there. But look, I'll persevere and see. I'll give it another coat of, when I say another coat, yeah, another coat of this stuff. I don't have to be so careful about bending over pieces this time. However, I do have to be careful not to go over spots where I've blown out. I'm not as concerned about this being flat as I was before, because the next sanding operation I'll be taking off the paper as well, or that's my intention. I'm hoping I can remove the paper and not do too much damage. Oh. Now the intention is to make sure I've got all of this. This shouldn't take too long to dry this time, because it's only just a skim coat. As I said, it'll be interesting to see which performs better, whether it's this masking tape, which on face value seems cheaper, but it's probably more expensive if you buy it in bulk. Alright, when this dries I'll come back. Okay, it's been about an hour. That's dried. Look, I'm going to see what damage I can do. Holy shit. Just noticed there's, don't know where all this black's come from. Well, I know where it's come from. But I shall now see what damage I can do. I'm going to sand it, so to remove the sandpaper, 180 grit, and here we go. Just looking at what I was sanding, it seemed as though the charring of the engraving got under the paper there and around there. However, that seems to have come up quite well, and it seems quite flat. I've removed all the paper from it. Didn't seem to have any issues there, or not much. Hang on, let's get rid of. Man, I tell you, this Bluetooth on the Festool, that is brilliant. Okay, now I'll try this one with the masking tape, which I know is definitely much harder than that packing, the laser tape. I don't know whether I can actually peel this off. In fact, if I remember correctly, in the past, that's where I've had trouble trying to get this off. Although, as I say, in the past I haven't tried to sand through it. Yeah, as you can see, it sticks, and the problem is getting it off in between. So, we'll see how far we can get with the sanding. I'm getting there, but hell, seems more effort than what it's worth. I'll keep persevering. I might have to speed this up on the video, because this is taking a hell of a lot longer than expected. So we shall see. Okay, that's done. Now that seems to take a hell of a lot more effort with the blue masking tape, although there might be softer masking tape. That's a good grade. However, having said that, look, I've got a shitload of this. If I'm going to mask, I might as well mask with this and use it up, because I'm pretty sure at the rate I use masking or engraving, that'll bloody last me for years. So I'll do that, because that did seem to clean up quite well. Although, by the looks of it, some of that paper might have lifted, and I seem to have got some dark results on the cheeks there. With that other one, nevertheless, the actual feel of it is good. The reason why it took so long, I suppose, trying to sand it, was because I was trying to keep the sander flat, which basically meant that I was only removing small amounts over the entire area. Look, I might up that to another. Look, maybe if I start off on a higher grit, or lower grit I should say, maybe 150 or even 120, I might have removed it. But then again, I just don't see why I should battle with the blue masking tape. Now I'll try and clean up this one. Some of you may have seen in a previous video, I used this black matting, non-slip mat for cookies. That other blue thing was moving around, so look, I thought I'll give it a try, see how well. Actually, that held quite well. I'm quite surprised. And look, I got a bit carried away with this black here, but it looks more like it's part of the darker part of the pine, because it seems to be running straight through there, and I wouldn't have got any black stuff over that, so I think what I'm trying to do is sand away pine. But look, that works. I suppose I don't think that's turned out any better than these ones that I did without the mask, but I sanded down further. So, yeah, look, providing you can engrave deep enough, I really don't think I need that mask. Nevertheless, I might go and buff this up, and that's it. So I recently watched a wood whisperer's video about applying finish. Now, he put forward a good point, a lot of good points, for why not flood your piece with things like tung oil and all that. He basically recommended a very light coat of rub-on, which I've tried. Now, for making it pop, there's really no difference between that and that. And with the amount I put on, I'm sure that's going to dry in a day, while that took about a week to dry. I'll follow this up and see what happens. I've gathered all the gang together. Here they are, all of them. This middle one was naturally the last one I've been working on. The one upside down is the one with the masking, the laser masking tape. Now, looking at it from behind the camera, where I can see the shine from the light there, that one, well, hang on, this one actually seems about the best. If I look down here, that seems to have the slightest amount of concavity on it. This one, where I use the painter's tape, doesn't seem to have much at all. Look, they all seem to have some degree of concavity. Naturally, the first one I did, not that one, where the hell is it? Yeah, this one, oh, hang on. Is that in the picture? No, it's not. I'll push that up there. That one, where I went absolutely apeshit with my sanding around the perimeter and pushing on with the sander, that's definitely the worst. This one, with the masking tape, was probably as good as this one here, or where I wasn't, where I was using the flat, thicker, padded Ross, or sander I should say. So, I really don't know where that masking tape is going to do any more because, or any better, primarily because I had to do a lot of bloody work to get the paper off. And it's not like you can rip it off easily, although the laser tape came off easier. So, I don't know, you know, I'm sort of inclined not to use tape only because I do engrave deep enough on these and this one and that, well, mainly that one and that, do engrave deep enough that I can sand away more of the perimeter to remove the staining and the, or leaching, whatever you might call it, and not have to worry about trying to remove the tape. So, I don't know, you know, I mean, you've seen my results, you decide if that's if you're going to engrave, which way might be easier. As I said, you've seen what I saw. There's no sort of, oh, let's go and reshoot that because I didn't like the results. You've seen it in real life, or as it came to me, hasn't been rehearsed, and so draw your own conclusions. And happy lasering if you decide to go that way. All keep safe. Just a quick afterthought. I've just finished sanding this bit of boards for another engraving job I'm planning to do, and I'm sure some of you are screaming out, rather than masking it, why not put a finish on it, like buff this up before you engrave or wood fill. Sounds good on paper. However, the problem is that I always put on 2 coats of, if I only put on 1 coat of wood filler, then maybe I'd get away with it. But because I put on 2 coats and I have to sand in between, if I put a finish on this or seal this properly, on the first sanding, it's highly likely that I'll sand through that finish, which basically means that the second coat of wood filler I'll be putting down on raw timber, which brings me back to my initial issue of the filler staining the wood. So sounds good on paper, but I really think it'd be a waste of time. However, having said that, I haven't tried it, so it's only theory, but I sometimes hesitate in wasting time where I believe it is going to be a waste of time. So anyway, that's my rationale. All right, goodbye. Keep safe.